is the voice of world control. I bring you peace. It may be the peace of plenty and content, or the peace of unburied death. The choice is yours.
It's the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast.
Right, this is episode 147 of the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast. I'm Michael Ball. I'm out in the sunshine with potentially some noise, which hopefully is not going to affect the show, but it could be interesting. I'm joined once again by the demigod of knowledge, information and trivia, Martin Fowler. Hello Martin, how are you?
Hello, how are you this week in this wonderful weather?
Oh, I'm enjoying every second of it. A lot of people I know are moaning about it and they're saying, oh, it's too hot, it's too hot. I don't feel the heat. I don't feel it. I feel the cold.
No, I love it. I love it.
I
love
absolutely
heat.
love it. So it was 30 degrees when I was outside today. Gorgeous sunny weather. We had sea mist yesterday coming up, which is really strange to see. So yeah, it was pretty good. But it's just a whole different world in the UK compared to being here in January to being here in June. It's I wish it was more like this for longer of the year, And it's actually funny because when I was setting this up, obviously I put in the Zoom link onto yours, but my old school buddy Malcolm Patterson is right next to you on the list, and I sent him the link for today's podcast by mistake, and he gave me a question mark, and he has listened to some of our shows, and he said, oh, it's fine. He said he's going to check out the episode that we're going to record today, which is an interesting movie, which I gave a rewatch actually for today's show, and it's very, very ahead of its time. So I want to get your perspective on this one because it's not a proper it is a disaster movie, but it's not like others. It's a slow burn kind of film, and I think I want to get your perspective on how clever this movie was and when it was actually done in, I think it was 1970, something like that, a long time ago. But before we go into that, what else has been happening in your end? Anything in London apart from the weather? Gone to anything? Any Comic Con?
No. It's been rather nice. Just been enjoying the weather, been out and about, and it's been rather nice. So.
Yeah, it's been really good, isn't it? They keep saying we're going to get thunderstorms, and we don't get thunderstorms. So I don't want thunderstorms, but I just
we had them yesterday.
Oh, did you have some up there?
Yeah.
Oh, we've not had any. No, we've not had anything at all. It's just been mostly dry, which is great. But like I said, it's certainly a good time of year. So, is there any news you're in? Is there anything that you've heard about which is I know that Mel's coming back to Doctor Who with Bonnie Langford.
There's the Star Wars trailer coming out, Star Wars Outlaws.
What's that?
It's
Star Wars? What is it? Is it a game? What's Star Wars Outlaws?
I don't know. I saw about a 10-second clip. It pops up on my YouTube channel.
Oh.
Something called Star Wars Outlaws, and there was the premiere in the trailer, or they've done it, I don't know.
Oh, so is this potentially a new series that they've kept under wraps?
It could be. I did think, is it a game?
Yeah, it's probably a game.
I don't know, but that's it. There's no news.
No, it's been really, really quiet, isn't it? I heard that apparently The Mandalorian Season 4 will probably still be filmed even with the writer's strike, because luckily they wrote it all before all the strike came down. So I've heard that might start filming in, say, November, which is quite good, and it'll be out next year. But like I said, it's been a real quiet sort of time, isn't it? So but never mind, we'll see. Oh, Strange New Worlds starts this week. So
yes, it does. It's Thursday. Yeah.
There's been a few more sort of trailers and a few more things sort of about it. You excited about it?
Yeah, no, I can't wait. On Thursday, I cannot wait.
Should be good. I think the second half is when it gets like a bit of a weirder season kind of thing. So it's you got the crossover with Lower Decks, which I'm really not that bothered about. But it should be interesting. Hopefully it'll be good. Right. I think that's it. We've got no news, so should we just go straight into the actual focus this week? I know it's might be a short episode this one because there's not much to talk about. So here we go. Here's the focus of the week.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
focus of the week.
Alright, so this is a movie which was actually, let's have a look here, I've got the information here. It was made in 1970 and described as a sci-fi disaster. And it's got a rating of 7.1 out of 10 on Internet Movie Database. And it says, tucked away in a secret location is in the Rockies. Dr. Charles Forbin has developed a massive computer system dubbed Colossus that is supposed to ensure the nation's safety against nuclear attack. But when Colossus connects to a similar Russian computer, Guardian, the intelligent machines begin conducting a private dialogue. Nervous at what they might be plotting, Forbin severs the connection, only to leave Colossus to threaten a nuclear attack if the link isn't returned. This is a film which I have seen probably about 2 or 3 times. Like I said, I gave it a rewatch. One of the reasons why we actually chose this episode this week was because, and we were talking a lot about this last week, which is why I wanted to come back to it, about the potential dangers of AI. And it is quite, bizarre that literally every few days there's something about AI in the news, about developments and things like that. And of course, we've seen films like Terminator, which had Skynet, which had a similar premise, and it must have been referenced from this movie when that was created years ago. So, tell me what you think about it. What did you think when you first saw it? Were you very impressed? Were you indifferent? Tell me what you think about it.
I love this film, and I wish they'd made the 2 sequels to it. This film, but I can sort of get it back then, science fiction,
Mm.
It was a thing about the crazy computer taking over the world,
Which was done a lot in that sort of era.
Like
M5
and you had all
on
the
Star Trek and that
servers and the computer things with the wheels, the tape wheels, and the dodgy monitors. It was just, and the actual brain of it was the size of a mountain, and the installation
was a huge thing.
Yeah. And you're watching it, and the film is incredibly dark, and the ending was just superb. I love this film. I like the actor. He was the guy. I forgot. He played Esselheim in Planet of the Apes.
Escape from Planet of the Apes.
He was there. The Liberty One. Yeah,
he was, and he was. I think it must have been filmed
Eric
at similar time. He was really good. I've only seen him in those 2 movies, but he was very good in both.
Incredible actor. He did a lot of these films in '70s. I found it's like Andromeda Strain. This sort of came out round about like 1970s science fiction were very, very clinical. Very clinical indeed. Do you know what I mean? Like Andromeda Strain, when they go in the bunker, there's no feeling to it. It's cold, and this film with the computer writing and all that, it offers the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this film. But the computer does have. It's its own person in this film. Is the computer.
Yeah. I mean, what I liked about it was that basically. How it just learns its intelligence. It's like a cumulative thing where they switch it on, and really what sends it going Ori what's the word when it sends it going crazy is when it connects to a similar device in Russia, and then because they're both equally supercomputers, they start learning at the same time and working off each other, and it was a very clever idea. But it was a bit obvious from the beginning that it was all going to go very, very wrong. It was a bit of a dangerous thing to actually put all your military powers and all your nuclear weapons arsenal at the where the actual intelligence itself could actually make decisions on that in a negative way. So do you think they're a bit naive to actually want to commit all their nuclear art? Because it wasn't just that; they were also using it for science, weren't they, and actually develop technology. It wasn't just
they thought they were the first country in the world to build it, and then suddenly after a day, it's demanding to talk to its counterpart, and they're like, what?
Yeah, what counterpart? Yeah.
And presidents. I mean, I love the politics in this film. When they assassinate that scientist, you know, they kill him because there's some scientist that's a threat, and the KG,
Yes.
the other computer orders the KGB. Could they have that secret meeting to stop it?
Yeah, that's it. In Rome, I think it was that scene.
Yeah, and it's just that. I mean, this thing is terrifying, but it's to what depths it's prepared to go to, like, so he can get information out to the people, the team outside, to shut it down.
Yeah.
It's like he has to tell it. I need intimate moments with this.
Yeah,
woman,
yeah, and
I don't want to be watched, and that's how they get the message. But the computer's already one foot ahead of it.
One step ahead of every time. They always underestimate how clever this thing is, and that was the problem. That's why it was such a bad situation, because in the end, it couldn't do it. It was the case that, well, they couldn't do it. I mean, it every single time they had the one scene where they were trying to put in dud detonators in the nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, we've got him, and it was way ahead of them. It knew exactly what was happening, and it was just using it was misleading them, wasn't it, into sort of like, while it's doing what it was trying to do.
I mean, there is a couple of flaws. I mean, if its brain were inside that mountain, wouldn't it have been better to like sort of blow up the mountain? I don't know. I mean, there is like one or two flaws in there, though, isn't there? Do you know what I mean?
It wasn't. The thing is, as you say, it wasn't like, you see, what's more dangerous about our world now is that with AI and internet and everything, that anything can go anywhere. You know, and obviously you don't need a huge. It could live in
your computer.
Yeah, it could be a virus. It could be anything. Whereas in this one, it was literally one huge computer in a mountain. As you say, couldn't they have just pulled the plug?
Well, that's what I thought. Unless it could protect itself.
You know, I mean, but because this is why, in some ways, it would be more dangerous now in reality with AI.
Well, I saw the. I don't watch this guy much, but I saw JPEGs on YouTube when I got in the other day. Piers Morgan was talking to this guy who's an AI scientist.
Right.
He's written a book.
Right.
And he said there's 3 stages to its evolution, and we're already past the 3rd stage now.
Really?
And
that far
apparently
ahead?
He said, I can send you the clip.
All right.
He's this guy. He's one of 4 creators of it. He said there is 2 now that exist, but they've not merged them into the internet yet. And he was telling the thing. He said they had Google had 2 communicating with each other. The language was so advanced they had to shut them down. But apparently we have one now. It's this is what he said. But he's a scientist, but he said that it's that he said that if it turns like he said what it's going to be.
Yeah.
If you've got AI and I've got AI, in its early program, and it's what you put into it. So if you're gonna put that's why they want to bring laws out.
Yeah.
So it don't become malevolent. But if it's going to turn anywhere like this, we're going to put it into it. It's going to be our own thing. But there is the fact of it growing and looking at us and thinking logically, what's the point of this lot or whatever? Do you know what I mean? I mean, but he said there is 2 now, but they've not been linked up to internet.
Well, it's interesting.
Well, I don't know. I'll send you the clip after this.
All right, thank you. I mean, the thing is, artificial intelligence has been something which has been shown in science fiction for a very, very long time. You know, going back to this, I think this is probably the very first instance of it in a story, where in many ways it's still very, very credible now. You know, if anything, I don't know about you, but I think that AI, after watching this movie compared to, as we've already described, how it could get out there more in our world than it was in 1970. I think it makes AI more frightening now than ever.
Well, they did have a very primitive form of broadband back then, but the military used it, didn't they? It was for like military.
Oh, yeah, I heard the same.
Very primitive.
Yeah, but sort of the very first thing before the internet came.
They used to have very primitive computers. It was through phone lines, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Back then, it was like the start of it. It's not like where we are today.
Like dial-up or something. Like
yeah,
sort of this kind of thing.
Can you imagine? I'm just thinking, you've got Colossus, and you're going, look, I want to onto it, and it's made. You remember that noise? Remember the piece used to make them noises when it was on the internet?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 I know the noise.
You're
Yeah.
frozen.
Yeah. Sorry, it's frozen. Give me a second. Wait a minute.
All right, you froze them for a minute.
Yeah, I think it's my end. I
Sure.
think the computer's playing up because I should have reset the computer, so it's a bit slow. So we might catch up a couple of times, but it's okay. We'll be fine. But yeah,
Right,
that broadband noise. I remember that sort of like sound it used to get on the dial-up sound, and it was a bit like it was always like on a parody of something. You used to see it quite a lot on sort of like funny clips and stuff online. So what else did you think about? I mean, obviously, it was very well acted. Do you like the fact that it was a slow burn movie? It was slowly.
Yeah.
It
I
wasn't
think
a
that's
big.
what draws you in.
It's not like a big action film where, I mean, there was one scene where a missile did hit. They launched a small missile. I think it was the one that hit Russia, and the one to America was stopped. But really, the only major. I mean, at the end, actually, we won't sort of focus too much on that. But at the end, it had got to a good point. But what I liked about it was that it was learning so fast, and it was like they're saying things like, I need to sleep, and then Colossus would say, well, wake up or something. It was just very clever. I like the fact that it communicated as well in the movie for a lot of it in just like texts, in just like going across, and like there was never a question mark as well. I don't know why it would never have a question mark. But that doesn't matter. But and in the end, it got this. Really
I like what they tried to make.
Go on.
I liked it where there were certain scenes where you heard the letters coming up on the screen.
Yeah, I like that. I thought it was creepy.
love all that. That's what made it futuristic for me.
Yeah, I liked it. I know.
I found this film, it was very clinical. We got a load of gullible humans, and this thing outgrows us within a matter of days and starts figuring it out because it is learning very quickly. I mean, it's got access to all the knowledge in the world through television and radio and satellite. Even back at that time, there's information moving, and this thing's absorbing it. And then it knows the Russians. I liked it where the Russians have one, Guardian.
Yes, Guardian was there.
And then suddenly, when they start communicating, do they merge and become like something? Because
I think they did. I think they did. I think that the merging of two separate systems, because they wouldn't have been exact, but they had a similar premise. I think it actually was what caused both of them to skew out of control as to how they were envisioned if it had just been the one. And I think that was part of the premise. It was that there was, because it was obviously like Cold War, and of course Russia and America used to compete with this sort of stuff at the same time. They both had the idea of creating supercomputers, but they didn't think that it would cause both of them to interact.
Well, in the film, I mean, it like the ending. What I loved about the ending, it said, "I want you to build. I want you to move everybody off the island of Rhodes or something, or some island in Greece. I want you to remove everybody off it and demolish the entire island.
Yes,
and build a superior system to me, and I will show you how to do it."
Yeah, that's right. How did you feel about it at the end when he was then going to become, at the end he was known as Control, wasn't it? It was going to be like Control, was going to be like, did you see it coming where he was saying that, humans were going to now be kind of like, they would still be allowed to live, but they would be basically have to be submissive to him or it. I just like the way that went. I just thought it was quite creepy.
On 11, it's got a right to live, hasn't it? And it's looking like it says you will live in a world you'll do what I tell you to do, and that's it. I will give you you want, but if you disobey me, it will be death. It says that. That's what it says.
It does.
And that how it finishes, and he's like pulling that face because it's his child. He created it. He was genius behind it, you know. And she said, that psychologist, that woman said, "Have you built this on your ego?"
Yeah,
You know,
she did.
she said,
Yeah.
It's an extension of his genius, isn't it? But it's beyond him.
Yeah, but I mean, I think for when it was made, it would have been more unpredictable. But if you watch it in 2023, the only thing is that it is quite predictable as to where it's going to go. I think only because of the world that we live in now. But that's not its fault. It was, it was based on. But it really did. I'm sure like things like Terminator, lots of AI. It would have been done after M5 on Star Trek. So it wasn't the very first thing.
But there was another film. There was another film I caught years ago. I've not seen it since. Demon Seed.
I've heard of that one as well. I don't think I've seen that one.
That's that. I think that one made in late 70s.
Okay.
Early 80s, and basically, this scientist, he's like him. He creates this system, and it demands. It talks to it, and the system says, "I want to move in somewhere else," and he goes, "No, you stay in the lab." Well, it doesn't. It moves into his own computer and it starts harassing his wife.
Okay. That sounds
and he's got this weird device. She traps in house. It's like it creates these weird machines in house, and it has sex with her.
Oh, what? Oh, okay.
You know. See it. It's a classic film. It's called Demon Seed.
Okay.
And it has sex with her, an accelerated pregnancy. Anyway, when it's born, it's got all the silicone on it, and they pull it off.
Right. Okay.
My life.
Sounds. Yeah. That
it's
sounds
worth
familiar.
a look. Demon Seed. It's made in 1980s. It's the effects. It's a weird movie. It would have been, but it's one of them people miss.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean,
they took a lot from this. This was like the first. I mean, Star Trek nailed it with the M5 computer.
I always think of M5, and I also think of HAL 9000 as well. You know.
Yeah.
But when was 2001 made?
Yeah, they're
about the same time, wasn't it? 2001 was made.
68, 69, I think. Yeah.
So it might have been just made before.
But I think 2001 got it more accurate.
Do you?
Of what's coming. Yeah.
Oh. In what way? I'm sorry, could you just replay that?
I could see we're having an out type thing in the house, yeah. If it goes all right, obviously, but
yeah, I think we.
But then there's that iRobot with Will Smith, isn't there?
That's another. Actually, I'd like to review that
iRobot with Will Smith.
I like that movie. I would like to.
I think iRobot might have been written before this.
Do you want to review that next week?
Written iRobot before this film.
Yeah. Shall we review that one next week?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
all right. I think that might be well because I like Will Smith movies anyway.
But there was 2 sequels to the Forbin Project. Is based on 3 books.
Right.
And I've read both books, and it's interesting. It's such a shame we never got the movies, because in the second book, the computer switched off. There's a new computer running the world. It's got a different name.
Okay.
Runs everything.
Right.
And the world's it's a paradise, but there's no freedom.
Oh.
And that scientist, he's gone into retirement, but it's they're getting a signal from deep space.
Oh, okay. Oh, where's that from?
For entertainment, what they do is for human entertainment. I'll tell you. Wait till I get to the 3rd book first.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
There's 3 books. The space signal is definitely. Well, he starts. I think he works at an observatory, and he starts communicating with his signal to send a message back. But for human entertainment, like there's human cults that worship it as a god now. This like computer. The world is a paradise. It takes care of everything, but you do as you're told. And they have a secret army there called Guardians, like it's security force.
Okay.
That control everything. But this signal is coming through, and the signal says we could show you how to turn this computer off.
Oh wow. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah,
And they get this code and they shut it down. They shut the computer down. The world goes into chaos. And the third book, the aliens come and they conquer the Earth, and they have to wake up the original computer because that knows how to get rid of them.
Oh, because it learnt when it. Okay,
and I think it gets destroyed.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because the aliens they're here to steal our oxygen.
Oh.
I mean, now that's where it falls down on itself.
Yeah.
And that's the two books. Very interesting world what it creates, but I think they both destroyed at end, and it's back down to us again.
So I always ask this: do you think it could be remade now? I don't think it could be really, because it's too obvious the way it's going to be going. Wouldn't you think?
I think it could be made. Definitely, it'd be an algorithm in the Pentagon or something like that. That's how it'd be. That's how it'd be set now. And the algorithm it'd merge with all the other algorithms and create super intelligence, and then takes over the world.
So is it possible with all this, with AI as it is, it might be more likely we might get more movies on this particular subject in the future?
Yeah, and in a remake, I'd do it where created by the Pentagon, and then when they switch it online, it merges with millions of algorithms, and it comes like a super planet. Then like not planes can't work on the sky. Right. It's everywhere, and they can't stop it. They try and they fail. And it says, "I want you to build as a mate," and it does. And then you follow the story with the alien invasion in the third film.
Okay.
But I think you'd have to do it upgraded to what we're in today. I think it'd work.
I still think of Terminator 3, where you also had the same system where it's coming online and self-aware. Because obviously I know that the Terminator 3 is not that well looked upon by people, but I actually quite like Terminator 3. I don't mind Terminator 3. It's not perfect, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. And it had some interesting ideas where they're in the Air Force base and it was becoming self-aware and they were trying to stop it from happening.
No.
So it's funny, but yeah, I think it's interesting. Like I said,
you say the problem with these computers taking over the film thing, they become very dated very quick because you say like the Forbin thing's based on the future and it's science fiction, but we're here now.
Yes,
we're at the Colossus level.
Yeah. Basically,
it's not science fiction anymore.
No, it's not. It's science fiction.
So if you're going to remake this, it has got to be done in the environment of today. If it's like Terminator 3, there's that scene where that general says, "Let's put Skynet on it; it'll get rid of the virus." But it was Skynet that created the virus, and so it could get out. Yeah. And that was quite futuristic. You're like, no, we can't turn it on. But we're beyond that now. We're into something new now.
Well, I said this to you before, but when I hear about AI now, I actually just find the whole thing terrifying. Because it's one thing having humans deciding our future, which is not exactly the best thing either. But computers?
No.
It's something where we've never been before, and I think it's very, very dangerous. And I think that you get a lot of people like, oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, it does matter. It's really important to think about the fact that. Our entire civilization from the moment.
If it.
Go on.
Well, you've got to put in safeguards. They're going to have to, but there's going to be people that are going to weaponise it, because if one side's got it military, the other side has to have it. You know what it's like, and if it turns on us, then it's going to be our own fault, isn't it?
But on the flip side,
it's going to be our own fault.
On the flip side, though, that you might get a sudden huge technological jump in anything, like maybe.
I think well, that's why I'd like to see it. I'd like to live in the world of like HAL.
Yeah.
That type of computer.
And then we might get like planes which are really much more powerful engines. Maybe getting into space would be something which would be much easier to do in the future with technological means in engineering mathematically. how to make it all work, and that's we could really have an acceleration in our lives. It could be really.
Well, that's what I think. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's going to be somebody who wants this. One side's going to want to weaponize it, and the other.
There's
side
always going to be a
it.
good and bad side to everything, and
that's the argument. That's why controls have to be put in,
and that's why it's a very interesting time, because we are potentially in a time where we could have a massive technological explosion of innovative aspects of our lives, with interaction with computers, but we could also have much more of a dangerous of an unpredictability of. You obviously think of viruses. I know it's not the same thing, but a virus is designed to mess up your system. You know, well, imagine an AI virus. Imagine something which can hack and do something more than a virus. I mean, a virus is, it's not AI, but it's a negative technological aspect of computers.
Yeah, it was like HAL in 2001.
Yeah.
In the sequel, when they got to the discovery, that professor that created it, he said, "I'll never kill the crew. It's what you put into it."
He got confused. He got confused.
Confused it.
That's what it was. He wasn't
evil.
That's what's so clever. The first film you thought, the first film you thought it was evil. The second one, wasn't. He was just confused. He had a contradictory issue, and he didn't know what to do about it, and that's why he did it. Because he wasn't programmed to understand, to work it out. I love 2010.
Yeah.
We have reviewed it, and it's such a good movie. All right, Martin, we're nearly up to Zoom, so let's just get. What would you rate it out of 10?
It's a bit of a funny one. I love the film. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, I think I'd give it a 7 as well. Actually,
because for the time, if I'd have seen it back then, I'd have definitely give it a 9. But because of where we are today, it's a classic film. But 7.
Yeah.
7. Yeah, I would like to push it to 8, but I think with what we've seen today, they got a lot wrong.
Yeah.
7.
Okay. All right. Now the internet's really unstable on my end, so we're going to sign off, I think, today. If that's okay with you, Martin, if you can hear me still.
Yep.
So sorry. Next week,
that's fine.
I'll reset the laptop properly, but I did it in a hurry, and the thing is, if you don't reset it, it messes up. So next week we'll do. What we're doing this week again?
iRobot.
iRobot. iRobot. That'd be a really good one to review. So thank you, Martin. Thank you very much. Anything else before we go? We've only got about 2 minutes left.
No, that's it. That's it. I will see you next week.
All right. Sorry, I've not been quite on my same wavelength this week. I've been a bit preoccupied with outside, and I didn't quite click into this week's as much as usual. But you were fantastic. You gave a great opinion.
No,
and it's just
I got in 10 minutes before this.
Yeah.
So as you.
Yeah, it wasn't our best episode, but it was great though. Great conversation, and it always is a great to chat to you. So, Martin, thank you very much.
Yep.
We'll see you next week on the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast. Live long and prosper.
Well, here's the type of thing that really pisses me off pretty much my whole entire life. I just can't get the woman, the one, the girl, whatever you want to call it. Now that I'm 37 years old, I'm still a virgin.